Good morning, everybody. So for today, we're going to be making these glue salt paintings, which are really fun. So this was one I made last night after a couple different tries. I also did this one just to kind of practice different like glue lines. So I used a paper plate, the back of one, because I didn't, the paper sometimes could be like a little bit thin. So this was just a stiffer surface to work on. So you can use paper if you have thicker paper, or like cardboard would work really well, or if you do have the back of a paper plate, that would be awesome. So this is definitely like experimental art, but it's really fun to work with. And you just need wet Elmer's glue and salt. And then this is my Elmer's glue. And then I do have an extra plate to catch like extra salt. And you'll see from when we pour it on. So you can choose to draw a design first. I did that, and then I realized like the glue is gonna sometimes kind of go wherever it wants to. So then I just thought I'll kind of just make it up as I go with the glue. And I made flowers, but you can make whatever you want. And then just note, like, a lot of my glue is touching each other, so the colors all kind of mix together. But if you keep things kind of more separate, you'll be able to you know, stop the colors from mixing. Oh, and then, sorry, watercolor paint. If you don't have watercolor paint, but you have regular paint, you can mix like tempera. You can just mix tempera with water to really thin it out, because really you just need to get any kind of paint pigment mixed with water so you can like drop it on. So you'll see what I mean about that. So I'm gonna start in the center, and I'll just make like a swirly design. I can make some circles. So the colors won't mix here because they're not touching each other. And the glue won't dry really soon, so you can kind of take your time. And then maybe I'll make a bumpy line all the way around. And then maybe I'll just make some lines going outward. So again, this is whatever you really want it to be. I'm just kind of making a design. You can make something specific if you want. The more glue you use, the better, because if you have a lot of white space, that's a lot of space where nothing's going to be happening, because the paint is only going to go on where you glued. So I might even maybe just close this. I hope you guys had a great day, great weekend, even though the weather wasn't super great. Okay, so once your glue pattern is on there, then you're going to get your salt, and you don't need a huge thing of salt like I have. You can just use table salt. I kind of like pour it on my hand though, because you do need like a fair amount to get on your paper. And then I do like a pretty good covering of salt on all the glue. So at school, I'll say, like, you know, don't be shy with this material. Like, don't be shy with it, which means use quite a bit. So if you you're gonna give what they would call a generous amount. I feel like when you're a cook and you follow recipes, they say generous amount, which means kind of a lot. Okay, once the salt is on there, you will use whatever you want to catch your salt with. Dump it on, but be kind of quick, because you don't want to like hang it upside down and have the glue move, because it's still wet. So now I've got sorry, salt all over my face. Now I've got my salt covering my glue. I'm going to use my paintbrush water, which is still dirty from yesterday. And what's really cool about this, if you have a dropper, you can just drop the paint on. I don't have a dropper, and my watercolor paint palette is like a traditional one, so it wouldn't work anyway. But so you want to get your brush really wet, so use like a lot of water, and then you don't have to really touch the glue because you don't want to push on it. You just want to lightly touch, and you'll see that the paint will start to spread. So this is really fun for mixing colors. So I'm going to use a little magenta, and the colors will start to blend again. The more water, the better, because the salt kind of grabs the water and the color, and it moves it really quickly. And then what's also nice is that the reason we use the glue is because the glue is going to harden all of this and keep it there for us. Yay. So again, you don't want to push on it, because if you push on the glue, it's going to you know, mess it up. The glue is still wet. So you almost just need to do like with, remember, a lot of water, you just need to touch it. And if you do accidentally get some glue on your brush, you can just, like I just did, you just rinse it off. So now's the fun part, because we can just paint. And then you do want to be careful, because you want to, you don't want to move this until it's dry. So work in a space where you don't have to really move the plate. I mean, if you have to pick it up, just be super careful, because it will, it's just really fragile right now. And the glue could slide and the paint could run. So you just want to be nice and careful. Okay. So I think now I'm gonna just continue, sorry, I was in like deep concentration. I'm just gonna continue to paint, and again, I'm just touching the tip of my paintbrush to the salt and the glue. I can see areas where like there's more glue than there is salt, so I can kind of sprinkle some extra salt on there where maybe might have came off. But just leave like just leave the extra salt on there. Don't try to get it off. But areas where there's only glue and not as much salt will you'll notice, because the white glue will stay there. The glue isn't what's absorbing the paint. It's the salt. So this is a great art lesson too for like mixing colors. So if you want to see what red and yellow make, you can mix red and yellow. If you want to see what blue and red make, or yellow and blue, this is a great lesson for the little ones on color. And it's really fun just to watch the paint travel around. my final painting is done. I can touch up any of the little things, but again, now I'm going to just leave it as it is so that it can dry. And then I'd say probably by tonight, you could touch it like this one I did last night, and I can touch it now. And I could actually even like cut it out from this so it doesn't look like it's on a paper plate. And it'll be nice and stiff. So I hope you have fun with our glue, salt, and water experiment today. And I'd love to see your pictures if you make some artwork. So have a great week.